Well, good morning. I'm Diana Minotti with Diana Minotti Fine Art Antiques and Collectibles. I'm a qualified appraiser and a certified qualified appraiser and a licensed auctioneer. I'm here with my husband
That's me,
Perry Matrano, who's also a licensed auctioneer.
number 5002.
Remembers that. Well, Perry does a really good job at auctioneering too. I think that was your favorite vocation so far,
Yeah, so far.
other than chief cook, bottle washer,
Yeah, chef. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
maintenance manager,
You name it.
operations.
Whatever you want me to do, my dear. Whatever you want me to do.
Well, we are here in Palm Coast. We conduct estate sales on site, and that's our uh,
Line of business.
first line of business. Yes, when we meet folks, it's the phone call. Hi, my name is so and so. I am recently widowed. I need to downsize and relocate closer to my family. I've never done this before. What do I do? Or we get the phone call of, um, hi, my name is so and so. I'm from Connecticut. I'm here only for the weekend. I have to figure out what to do with the estate. And so we're really trying to help people make that transition, make it smooth and stressless. So by doing that, we start out with a sale right at the house. We try to find out what is the family going to keep, those precious heirlooms, and what is it that they're going to sell. And my motto is, keep the best and sell the rest. But sometimes selling the best fits their financial needs. So
Well, when they hire you, it's important because they get that limited amount of time. A lot of times these are older people. They're themselves retired because a lot of these families, the parents live into their 90s, and they're in their 60s. They don't have the time or the understanding of what to do or do it properly. So by hiring a professional company like you makes life a little bit easier for them. Takes the stress off of what they have to do so that they can focus on the real life issues that they have to go through, the estate, the probates and such like that.
well, yeah. I mean, we'll always stress that they need to take care of themselves. So, sometimes just not getting enough rest, not eating, that's really what's most important is taking care of themselves, and we'll take care of the stuff. Um,
And we have an antique shop. Did you mention that? You didn't mention that yet, did you?
oh, I didn't. I
Okay.
didn't. Where you hold court.
Well, where I'm there every day. I did retire until you told me I had to go to work. So I'm at the shop, 15 Palm Harbor Village Way, right here in Palm Coast. It's next to the Portuguese restaurant and behind the Cantina Louis and the sheriff's outpost over there,
Off of Old Kings
off
Road.
Old Kings Road. We're right behind them.
It's 5,000 square feet, and it is geared really for the contractual client. I have to say the client that hires us for that full liquidation. Those are the items that come first into the gallery. It's handpicked after a sale. The item did not sell, and it's got some great quality and will be a good addition to the shop. That's where it goes.
So,
And
like the sign says, fine art, antiques, and collectibles. As you walk in the door, that's what's in the shop.
it's very true. I mean, we do have people looking for a file cabinet or a microwave. You're not going to find that there. Those are general household items, and we sell everything. I get that question all the time: is, oh, I don't feel that you know we have the proper contents for you to do a sale. Well, we sell everything, but much of my time is spent in the field working with the client in assessing what their needs are and what they are going to keep and what they're going to sell and what's going to make the sale interesting. We try to do our history, do our research, and really get it down to how can we get the most amount of money for every single item and that it's thoroughly researched and not looked over.
So we pretty much sell everything at the estate sale that we possibly could sell, and with the exception to if something that's unique and should go in the antique shop, then that's something that would be picked. But you do try to sell it first at the
Oh,
estate sale,
absolutely,
right? So
absolutely.
yeah,
There's always this myth that we are selling everything at the sale.
yeah, I get a lot of people that come in the shop and they say to me, "Oh, is this where Diana brings all the leftovers?" and I tell them all the time. I said, "No, this is where the pieces that were earmarked to come into the shop should they not sell will come here and get their final resting place in essence because we want to get people to look at these pieces. I mean, the shop is like museum level when you come in. People come in and say they're in awe of the shop itself because of the design, and we got wonderful staff that helps us out with. Myra comes in there and stages that place. She's been with us a long time. She's been with you a really long time.
Hmm.
And then we got other great employees. About why don't you tell us about them?
Well, it's very much a family affair. I mean, here it is. I'm married to you, and then we had Stephen in there. He was running the shop for quite some time,
Our oldest son.
and his wife Jennifer. She was always staging and also handling clients with great detail. And the two of them, I have to say, helped us really implement a lot of the systems that we use today and started our eBay store and getting online. So it
Yeah,
was
our Google Docs is really an amazing
that's the
document
backbone
because
of the company.
people come in and say, how do you keep track of everything? And I said, if you only could see this document, that's amazing. Actually, yes, she did that, Jennifer.
Yeah, yeah. And then our son Joseph, you'll see him. He's always out and about. He's driving the truck, making deliveries, doing consignment pickups. He does lots of sales. The kid always comes home with the money. He
And
sells it.
he owns Junk Joe's Removal. In case you need that service as well, you could let us know.
That's true. So we have that going on. And then, of course, there's always call a friend. There's always, calling mom. Mom does a lot of the jewelry. She's always been a big help. And dad is the gun expert.
Mm.
So,
Gun expert is it's slightly said that one. You want to be sure that you never get into a discussion with him about guns. If you want to learn a lot about loading guns, especially loading bullets and stuff like
yeah.
that, he's an expert.
And then we have our adopted family, our little extended family of the folks that have been with us for a very long time. Judy was our first employee. She was my Avon girl, and when I got that first project, that first job, I said, "Hey, what are you doing on Friday?" So she's been our cashier side by side. Greg is the be all do all head man in the field. He really pulls the place
The
together. Everybody's
garage
staged.
expert. He is the garage expert.
Oh
That's
yeah,
for sure.
tools, anything that plugs in. But the staging. Listen, everybody stages unbelievably. I mean, if we showed before and after pictures of what we walked into, a lot of people come to the sales and they're like, "Oh, the house is so beautiful," and I want to say to myself, "Well, it didn't always start that way, but
Yeah.
we
Well,
really pull it together."
I mean, people end up, living in their home for 30 years, and when they get older and they can't do things around the house, so that the house gets into a little dysfunction, and that's where you come along. So who else do you have in the family?
Well, we have Olaf is our he's from we have car next weekend, so he worked at dealerships, so he's our car guy.
And our
But
and our in-house librarian.
we call him
Yes.
librarian. He does look up all the books and records. He's into music, but he's a foodie too.
He is.
The
Yeah.
guys love, believe
Yeah.
it or not,
Well, we're all a bunch of foodies if you haven't figured
we
that
got a
out.
good KitchenAid coming
Yeah.
up this next weekend,
Uh-oh.
so. Um, and we call him Tall Guy because he can reach everything without getting on a ladder. So, um, Myra, I adore. She is my sidekick at the gallery on Thursdays. That's when I get to hold court because Perry gets the day off.
Yeah, I get to leave because they play music all day long, and they blast the music so loud I can't even think. But it's really plenty. It's really great. People love it. They come in dancing. So
So, Perry's day off. You get to mow the lawn,
yeah, I guess
do the laundry.
it's when I usually cook something good at home.
Yes, absolutely. Our newest addition. Oh, wait a minute, Walter.
Walter,
We got to
you,
bring
you,
in
you
Walter.
have Joe, you have others.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, let me get to that. So Walter is our first line of defense. He is the parking monitor, and he meets and greets people, helps you load and whatnot. But his aficionado. He is helpful when we have any type of medical equipment. He used to work for hospice and delivering that kind, oxygen tanks and hospital beds. So he really knows his stuff when it
And
comes
he's
to.
the strongest senior citizen I know. I got to tell you, this guy can lift things. Well, anyway, yeah, he's a strong guy. He's a great bowler too.
Oh yes, almost pro bowler. In
Yes, he
fact, we
is.
had bowling balls in last week's sale, so he helped us
He knows all
decide
about it.
how much were they worth, bowling bags, and he's a skater. He's a roller skater.
So tell us about Joe, our eBay manager.
We call him eBay Joe, and eBay Joe has been handling our eBay almost since inception. When Jen and Steve went back to New York, he took over, and has we have like a 99.4% rating on eBay, which is hard to do. You're dealing with people online; they're buying something from a photograph, so it has to be really well illustrated and documented and discussed, and there you have to really communicate.
And a lot of competition over since eBay started, and you have these other Pinterest and all these other auction type businesses out there that are competing with it. But at the end of the day, tried and true, eBay has been the most consistent for two reasons. One is the buyer has a rating, and the seller has a rating, and you don't want your rating to go down. So when you're a buyer on eBay, you're more serious than in any other platform that there is. So that's a good way to do it. But Joe does a great job, and he's really knowledgeable.
Joe also comes from a background to dealerships, so he's good with
Yeah,
the anything mechanical, anything historical. He's the metals guy,
electronics and such too.
electronics,
Yeah, and
definitely,
and just so you know, there are two Joes in the organization: our son Joe and
and eBay Joe.
eBay Joe. And then who we missing? We're missing Anthony
Oh,
and
well, Anthony is a new addition, and I feel like I've known him all my life, but we have actually known each other for a very long time. And he has a lot of artistic qualities. He's an artist, he does comics, he's a musician, he plays all around town, and he actually put together our Facebook ad for this show.
customer service number one. When he relieves me in the store,
Yeah.
people love him. They come in, they start asking, where is Anthony? I guess I'm the curmudgeon salesman in the stores. So, although I
Well,
do
it's not.
sell, I think they do a better job of
Well, it's not that,
customer
Perry.
service.
The unfortunate thing is you're tasked with all the things I don't want to do.
Tell me about it.
So, who's doing the taxes, maintenance, and the insurance?
Oh God.
Ay, ay, ay. And who sits on, sitting on, you have the patience of Joe Perry. I don't know how you do it, but when it comes to tech support, you get on the phone. If it's an hour, 2 hours,
Yeah, it's fine.
I know,
But I'll still service the customer when they come in while I'm talking to customer service.
I know, but it's
I get
hard.
it.
It's a little
We'll
bit
fix
hard.
everything.
But everybody gives great customer service. When people come to the estate sales or they come to the gallery, we have buyers that have been with us from the beginning. We've been doing this thing since 2008.
You did leave out Steve, who's kind of retired now, but
Steve, yes, Steve's retired, but he's been really helpful. Him and Walter make a good dynamic duo on Mondays and delivering things for people. So you would see Steve out there.
yeah, but he's recently retired, so we may not see him as often. Yeah, and Seth, we have Seth, Joe's friend
Joe's
from
side
college. Right?
yeah, yeah, and they. I have to say, it could be hot, it could be cold out. They're tired. But they get the job done.
And Cody, don't forget Cody, another college person
Cody,
that's friends with
yes,
Joe.
yeah.
So this is this organization who we've been around a long time. We've been in one location 14 years at this shop, and 3 years in Bunnell in a warehouse district where they animate a warehouse look like a gallery. But those were the early days of Google. So whenever you Googled us, you ended up in the woods down there. So we ended up now getting this really nice store that we're in, and it's been very good.
Well, we wanted to get on. I think what was really happening though on the west side is we just didn't have enough foot traffic, and where we are now, we're a mile off the interstate. There's lots of restaurants and things to do. It's so it just
No, it's much better location, kind of downtown of Palm Coast and all that.
But it was a great, that was a great beginning. I had done a project out of town, and called Perry out, and I says, listen, whatever we didn't sell, we got to get out of this house. So I'm coming home with a load and get me some storage.
Oh, that was
And
the West Palm run. That was a long, yeah, that was a bit. Well, we try to stay within the county now. I mean, this is what we really try to do. More your business model is here in Palm Coast, most of it.
yeah,
And you're probably the most qualified estate sale person that there is because you are an appraiser. A lot of people don't know what exactly the appraiser side is. So, could you give us a quick tutorial on that?
well, I went to NYU back in the early 90s and got a certificate in appraisal studies. But what you don't realize when you hear people say, oh, you got a certificate, you did a 12-hour online class. It took me about 4 years to do that. It was after work, nighttime classes over at NYU or at Yeshiva, and it was really fascinating. The professors were from all walks of life, and you took in-depth courses on just Japanese woodblock prints or Persian fine rugs, or the writing of an appraisal or the ethics of collecting. So it was pretty interesting.
I really don't want to get into too many of your certifications, but I do want to mention the fact that, and I know you don't like to talk about it, but you do have a master's degree in fine art administration, and that's something to be proud of. And this is where you used it, and it's really unique because a lot of people get their degrees and they don't get a chance to use them where they want. So it really has paid off. I know it's paid off for me because I married you, right? So that's a story for another time. We're definitely going to bring it into the show, how I met Diana a second time, because I met her one time before, many years ago.
But I am wearing something special that you had made for me.
What is that? Show it.
Well, here we go. It is I think it's 14 karat gold, right?
It's
Or
better
is
than
it
14
18?
karat,
It's
honey.
probably 18. Okay.
Yes.
Um, we were in New York. You went to Dorico Jewelers, and
Got to show it. Can't see it.
you can't see it. Here it is. Can you see it? It's Diana, Goddess of the Hunt. It's based off of our logo, Diana, Goddess of the Hunt. It's based off of a bronze by Saint Augustus Gaudens, and he was commissioned to do the large-scale sculpture that was put on Madison Square Garden back in the 1920s. And so I've always enjoyed this piece. It's my pilgrimage to see it once a year, go to the Met.
Yeah, it's in the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But I have to tell you, when I was a corporate art consultant in New York, I went to do a project with Terry. Terry Brayuski was the interior designer, and she invited me to go and meet the daughter of the owner of a restaurant. I think it was
Tavern on the Green. Don't mention names, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so we went to go, and the daughter we were doing her penthouse suite. And I get off the elevator, and it's an elliptical building right off of Central Park South, and there she is in all of her glory. He had the only other
Wow.
bronze sculpture
He
of
owned-
Diana, Goddess
That's
of the
amazing.
Hunt. Yeah,
Wow.
in the middle of his living room.
And here's your logo. So that's where you base it from. So that's awesome. So let's talk about the purpose of the show. Okay.
Well,
You know,
we're trying to make antiques great again.
that's funny. Everybody's using that sign.
No, I mean really. Brown furniture is dead. That's all you hear.
Brown furniture. What do you mean brown furniture?
Well, brown furniture is considered that antique furniture, and the old stuff, nobody wants it anymore. And
So what's an antique versus vintage?
well, antique is 100 years old.
Okay.
So you're going to go, which we do when we go into a home. People do have antiques. They're
So
going to
anything
have.
prior to 1925 is going to be what's considered an antique now. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. And vintage, what is vintage like?
Well, vintage is really the after that, and before mid-century. So you're talking about the 30s and the 40s as more of a vintage item, but it depends on the item. It depends on the field because people will call 1970s vintage furniture.
So when someone says, I have something old in our industry, what does that mean versus?
Well, the question is always, I have this old thing, but is it worth anything? And just because it's old doesn't mean it's valuable either. So you
Oh,
have
you
to
mean
kind
like
of.
the Van Gogh that someone bought at an estate sale for
No,
$50?
it was a garage
It
sale.
was excuse me, a garage sale for $50, and what did it sell for recently?
Well, no, a group has bought it, and they did. Apparently, they found red hair strands, and they're saying it's Van Gogh. And
Wow,
I'm sure they've carbon dated it and looked at the
love Van
paint.
Gogh. It was
And
one of my favorite art. Him and Pollock was one of my favorite artists.
yeah, I just saw it this morning. It was an article in the New York Post that they're claiming it to be worth 15 million.
Wow.
But that's because now they have 20 people on board that are experts that from all walks that have analyzed this thing. So we'll see where it goes.
Well, when I first met you, one of the questions you asked me was, "Would you like to go to a museum?" And I quickly said yes. And I think your eyes lit up pretty well. So we love museums. We love the art, and it's part of our
Architecture, historical houses.
right, exactly. So before I get on to the segment that we've been talking about, and like you don't want surprises. Like Diana says, "Oh, don't surprise me with anything," and one thing that Mr. Engineer, just so you know, in case, and we have our engineer here, and he does all these things. He's going to fix everything all the stuff that we say that we can't really be using. Anyway. I said, I want to surprise you. I want to do like, where you could evaluate something or talk about it a little bit more. People want to hear it, even though it's on the radio and maybe simulcasting. I think it's really cool to do. So I got something really special, to do. But before we go into that, is there anything else that we need to because I know we're going to be running out of time shortly. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, like in particular? Your clients, like where they come from, how they started. Here at the 6th borough of New York, Palm Coast. if you haven't figured it out, we're both from the Bronx originally, but I know 20 plus years we've been here. I can't lose my accent. But overall, so tell us.
I know. Don't you wish you had $1 for everybody says, "Are you from New York?"
No. It's a fake accent. Anyway, what's the majority of your clients, and then where did it come from?
Well, I mean, the beauty of you get the phone call, and when the name of the street right away, I know I kind of already sense what I'm gonna be seeing. If it's those pioneer families, the streets that are off of Florida Park Drive and whatnot, that you could find some really great mid-century.
Well, before we go, 2 things. Your brooch. Tell us about your brooch.
Well, no, that's supposed to be my tagline at the end is a brooch a day.
Okay, going to have to cut and paste that one. So, if I can, I have something here. It's pretty cool. And for the first time in the history of radio, okay, we're going to actually show you uranium glass. And Diana, while I'm unwrapping, why don't you tell us about what uranium glass is?
That was supposed to be your part.
Well, I can't do everything. Trying. So, anyway.
Well, apparently, I think it was like the
See
1830s
it.
to the 1860s. Uranium glass became really popular. It's apparently it's 2% of uranium is fused into the glass. So, I've had people wonder, is it safe to eat and drink out of? And from what I've read, it's okay as long as it's not cracked or chipped or broken.
I don't know. Anything that lands in it dies. But,
But Perry's got a black light on it, a UV light, and right away it glows. And that's what the uranium is. And it's really hot with the hipsters right now. I get people that they'll come to a sale with a black light and looking around for uranium
and we have a
glass.
display. So if you pass by the store at night, it's lit up pretty cool. You'll be able to see it. Well, that's pretty cool. And uranium glass, they really don't make it anymore since after the atomic age, right?
Well, it was from the military. I think stopped all the they weren't allowed to produce it anymore
Right.
because they needed the uranium for the war effort.
So
So
may I put this down because I think I'm
yeah,
starting to itch or something.
okay.
Anyway, thank you for that. All right, thank you, Mr. Producer. Appreciate it.
So what we'll try to do with each show is I'm currently the president of the Estate Planning Council, which is the Estate Planning Council of the Fun Coast, which is a Volusia and Flagler chapter. And so, in developing those programs and working with, what is it all about estates, and who do we work with? And so, in the future, we're going to have some lovely guests that are either from the whether we start out with the realtor, we get the calls from the attorney, whether it's the banker.
So,
There's
so what you're saying is you want to give people the information so that they can make their transition simpler, easier, and just kind of make their life a little bit better during a very difficult time.
well, and those are the referrals that refer us or we refer them. I mean, this goes hand in hand in preparing an estate. Like right now, I was on the phone before we got here with the Supreme Steamer doing the carpets for tomorrow's sale.
Well, that's because you're all encompassing. I just want to tell you, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here today with you,
Why, this is fun.
well, it's an honor to be here, and I know this was a long time coming. So thank you very much for allowing me
Well,
to be a part of it.
the brooch a day. This is usually it's just a female, but this is actually a wedding brooch. It is the male and female together.
Very
So
nice.
here we are. So that'll be my brooch for today.
And we are DianaFineArt.com, and you're welcome to see us at 15 Palm Harbor Village Way here in Palm Coast.
We do estate sales every weekend. You can check on the website. When you get on the website, you should subscribe. And on Thursdays, I send out a MailChimp newsletter that we publish, and it'll tell you what sale is the weekend and what's new in the gallery as a new arrival.
Awesome.
Do we have any more time?
Just a quick close.
What's next week's show?
Well, we're working on that. Like I said, we've got a banker, we've got a realtor, I would also like to get some testimonials from some of our buyers who have grown along the way and enjoy what we have and have bought things. I'd love to see what people will send me photographs of things that they've bought that they've repurposed.
And make sure you mention to our staff that they're going to be guests too once in a while, right?
Oh, of course,
yeah,
of course. Especially when we find something really neat and we've spent some great deal of time of investigation. It's always fun.
So this is our first show, and at this point, we're developing the program, and we're looking forward to being here and becoming part of your home on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. And if there's anything that we could do for you, please contact us. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again. A brooch a day. Don't forget.